So, this week you have the championship. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, Western Intercollegiate Rowing Association Championships, there's 41 universities that attend. It's over 2 days. There's heats, sometimes semifinals and grand finals. And, we're still trying to put it all together. We're still, trying to find a little bit more speed before we go. This is kind of the end for the West Region racing. So generally the team that wins in the Varsity 8 and the Varsity 4 are the bid out of the West to go to the national championships. And it's outside the window of late season results, so we are required to compete at least one more time, and so is everybody else. So the plan is, we'll hope to race exceptionally well this weekend, because it's the last time that we'll see Western Washington, Seattle Pacific, and University of Central Oklahoma. We know that we'll see UC San Diego again at Dad Vales, but this is a very big weekend for us.
And, describe to me how big this event is. Like, what does it mean for the athletes and for you guys to be in this type of, championship?
So this is the end for the team, right? So after this regatta as a team championship, then we only compete the 8 and the 4 after that. And we've been really fortunate in the last 2 years to have won the WERA championships out of 41 schools. We won it in 2017 and 2018, and that speaks really to depth of program. And so to try to uphold and win that championship again is pretty big for us. We're rowing one less event than we did last year, so we have to finish really well as a team to win that championship trophy. And it's big. So so far the regattas that we've gone to this season, maybe you see 7 teams, 8 teams, 9 teams, but when you get there and there's 41 teams and there's 41 teams of boats, there's boats as far as the eye can see, there's men, there's women, there's athletes all over the place. And when races start at 7 o'clock on Saturday morning and end at 6 p.m., they go off every 10 minutes, 10-minute centers. It's just one after another, and where you finish dictates where you go next. So the hope is to make all of the grand finals on Sunday.
And it sounds like a lot of fun, and like you said, how you perform dictates where you go next. Do you think you have what it takes to get to nationals?
Yeah, I think we do. I really do. We've worked awfully hard this season, and I think probably just like any other team in the United States, it's been a very awful flu year for us. We've had a lot of kids that have been sick, that have been out of the rotation. We have kids that are currently in that top 12 position that are now like, Coach, I think I'm getting sick, all the things that you don't want to hear. So, we're hoping for that one great opportunity to have some really good performances this weekend in the 8, and if we fall short in the 8, then we have one more opportunity at Dad Vales.
And so what will be key for you guys?
I think composure. We have worked for the last month in looking at our flaws when we raced at Central Oklahoma. Some really just, the conditions were horrible, and they caved to how bad the conditions were. And so, we've had an opportunity to train in a lot of horrible conditions at home now that it's spring and there's lots of wind, and we've tried to take advantage of that. And we need them to stay engaged. They need to be thinking about all the changes that we've talked about, that we've worked on, really worked on. And sometimes passion overrules the head. And so every day when we come into the boathouse, we talk about the goals of that day. We do some demonstrations, we look at some video, and we try to remind everybody this is a thinking sport. So it's going to be important. And obviously the sun has finally come out in Humboldt. I think it's like day 3. And it's supposed to be 80 degrees in Sacramento. So there'll be a few things that we're battling, but we hope to have a lot of composure. We hope to have a lot of fun, but we hope to really rise to the work that we put in this season. There's some really fast crews there.
When was the last time the team competed?
The women's Varsity 8 and Varsity 4 competed at University of Central Oklahoma, and that was on March 29th and 30th. We were supposed to do 2 days of racing, and there was too much wind in the forecast for the second day, so we did it all in one. And the 2V8 and the JV4 rode at St. Mary's that weekend, and then JV8, JV4 novice squads went to Covered Bridge Regatta on April the 7th. So for your top 12 athletes, they haven't been on head-to-head competition in over a month.
Does that take you out of a rhythm at all? Do you worry about that?
For us, it was probably perfectly timed. We had so many people that were sick in that boat. We had kids are going to health center and they're like, yeah, it's a bad cold, and then we end up with a couple cases of bronchitis, 3 sinus infections, and 1 case of pneumonia. So I do know that this is pretty much across the field. If any of the teams that are competing right now, even just from Humboldt, but everywhere, it's been a really hard season for flu. So we're hoping that we got a lot of good work in, and that we've been able to scale back on that work and try to get them to recover. We trained pretty hard right up through Central Oklahoma. We didn't take any time off. We didn't back down, and so time will tell. Either it worked or it didn't. Then you go back to the drawing board for next year.